Phoenix, it's time for Saturday night soccer and dollar beer night. Phoenix Rising takes on San Antonio under the lights Saturday, April 26th at 7 p.m. And you know what that means. Dollar beer night is back. Enjoy 16-ounce Modelo for just $1 as Rising battles a Western Conference rival. Tickets start at just $15. Get yours now at phxrisingfc.com. Cold beer, fierce rivalry. Don't miss it.
If you know, you go. At Superstar Car Wash, we're proud to have over 550,000 members. Be in the know and try what everyone loves today. Text SuperAZ to 27800 to get 50% off our best wash. Terms and conditions apply.
It's time to get excited for an unbeatable deal from Midway Chevy. Right now, Midway's Lease Advantage program has the all-new, redesigned 25 Chevy Trax. Lease it for $299 a month plus tax for 36 months with $999 due at signing. A giant value in a smaller SUV with Apple CarPlay and 11-inch display. Together, let's drive an exciting Trax. Lease for $299 a month, 36 months with $999 due at signing. Over 50 to choose from at Midway Chevy, I-17 and Bell Road, or shop anytime at MidwayChevy.com. Together, let's drive to Midway Chevrolet. Absolutely unbeatable. Example VIN ends in SC216602, plus tax title license with approved credit. 25 cents mileage charge over 10,000 miles a year. No security deposit required. An extra charge may be imposed at the end of the lease term. See dealer for details. Ends 4/30/25.
We sell excitement.
Midway Chevrolet, absolutely unbeatable.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Total Wireless is made to totally keep up with you. We have unlimited data that never slows you down, covered by the Verizon 5G network, and all for less than $30 a month when you get 4 lines. And the best part, we give you a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G when you switch to the 5G Unlimited or 5G Plus Unlimited plan. Visit your local Total Wireless store today. Total Wireless, we're totally with you. Actual speeds may vary by location. For data management practices, see TotalWireless.com.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix. It's the lunch break.
Perhaps our first look at what changes might be coming to the Suns front office. And are we in the middle of smoke screen season, or has the draft changed a little bit for the Arizona Cardinals? All of that on the Tuesday edition of the Lunch Break. Welcome in, KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert here with you for the next 2 hours. You can also stream the show on the KDUS AM 1060 app. We've got the video version over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube channel. We got producer Evan behind the glass pushing all of the buttons. It is Tuesday. We are 2 days away from the NFL draft. The Diamondbacks are back in action tonight. We're learning a little bit more about what the Phoenix Suns may be doing this offseason. Just a busy day for us here on the program. So let's get started. Let's waste little time, catch you up on what our top story of the day is.
Time for our top story of the day. It's the Daily Special.
There's a story written yesterday by Dwayne Rankin of the Arizona Republic, giving us our first glimpse into what changes could be coming outside of, firing the head coach for the Phoenix Suns. Story written yesterday has pointed us in a direction. And that direction is, quote, sources have informed the Arizona Republic the Suns likely will look to add someone to the front office to work on basketball personnel decisions. We knew that one of the big questions that we had after Mike Budenholzer was relieved of his duties was what was going to be done with the front office. We told you last week that we felt because James Jones was up there answering questions, because Josh Bartelstein was up there answering questions, it felt likely that those guys would still be around, that those guys weren't going anywhere. Not a certainty, not a guarantee that those guys are going to be back, but if you're going to do this the right way, if you're going to handle this correctly, and you're going to go in the correct order, if you were going to move on from those guys, they wouldn't be answering questions from the media. Now, perhaps you change their roles. Perhaps they get a demotion. That is something that we've heard rumored about, that there would be a role change for both of these guys. But them no longer being in their posts felt like it was not happening after their appearance at the podium last week for the exit interviews that Suns owner Matt Ishbia and company did last week. And so now we are hearing that somebody new is going to be brought into the fold. They're going to add somebody to the front office. And where I want to start with this is the concern that I have with this news. They used the phrase, add somebody. Not talking about James Jones leaving, not talking about Josh Bartelstein leaving, not talking about those guys leaving the organization and not being around. No, the conversation is adding somebody to the front office to work on basketball personnel decisions. So the first question that I have, is that going to be too many cooks in the kitchen? Is that going to be too many voices? I've campaigned for a new voice. I've campaigned for a new vision in the front office. New, fresh voices with new, fresh ideas could do this franchise some good right now. And so adding somebody certainly would do that. It would provide those fresh voices. It would provide that fresh perspective. But if you have too many voices sharing their opinion, if you have a CEO sharing his opinion, if you have James Jones in whatever new role, if he's just going to be the GM, if he's going to stay as the president of basketball operations, and they're going to bring in a GM underneath him, however they choose to structure this, is it too many voices where there's too many conflicting opinions and you can't come to the right consensus about what needs to be done? Could you imagine 3 different opinions about what they should do with Kevin Durant this summer? Could you imagine 3 different opinions about what the return for KD should be? 3 different opinions on who to draft on draft night with their draft picks? It just feels like it could be too many voices for a team that I think needs one solid, unified, strong voice. It's what this team was missing last year. A unified, strong voice as the captain of the ship, pushing it in the right direction. They didn't have that. You weren't getting it from Matt Ishbia. You weren't getting it from the front office. You were not getting it from Coach Bud on the sidelines. You weren't getting it from the players. You were not getting one unified, strong voice. This is who we are as a franchise. This is the backbone of everything that we do. So if you're going to add somebody, I'm all for it. I'm all for bringing somebody new in that's going to present a fresh vision, a fresh voice. But are you keeping the other 2 guys? Are you keeping the other 2 guys and they'll have a similar say to what they had last year? What does the structure of this look like? That to me is the most important part. Because on the surface, adding somebody is a good thing. On the surface, getting that fresh voice is more in line with what we wanted to see happen this offseason. We wanted a complete makeover of the front office. Doesn't look like that's going to happen, but okay. You bring in a fresh voice. You bring in somebody who maybe has some new ideas, thinks outside of the box. That's great. That's what this team is missing. But what is the structure? Is James Jones solely the president of basketball operations as he shed the GM title? I saw a Bright Side of the Sun, a story that they wrote yesterday, talk about how reading between the tea leaves of this Dwayne Rankin story of James Jones just being the president of basketball operations and taking a bigger picture, long-term view while they bring in somebody underneath him to be the GM to handle the day-to-day. I don't know if I would love that because the GM executes on the day-to-day, but that GM is executing on the vision that comes from the president of basketball operations. And I'm sorry, I don't trust the vision of this president of basketball operations. So that structure doesn't work for me. And that's why James Jones's presence hovering over all of this has confused me. I was going to say all offseason, but we've been in the offseason for like 2 weeks. For all 2 weeks, I have been confused by what the Suns are going to do here with a guy who is their president of basketball ops / general manager, whose contract expires at the end of June and doesn't warrant a contract extension. Hasn't had the success that says, that guy, keep that guy around, give him a brand new deal. And you've said that changes are coming. This report indicates that they're going to add somebody to the front office. How does this all look? This adds up, at least right now, until I can see it, until I see who they bring in, until I see what the structure looks like, doesn't paint a very good picture. Doesn't paint a picture of what I want this offseason. Makes it very cloudy to me. What is James Jones's role? What is this new person's role is going to be? Who is ultimately going to have the final say? Yes, Matt Ishbia is the owner. He determines everything. But when it comes to the basketball operations department, who has the final say? Is James Jones the guy who's going to have the final say? Because if that's the case, I'm sorry, I don't trust that structure. I don't trust what I've seen for the last couple of years. And if you're going to come at me with, he's the guy that put together the roster that went to the finals, that's a long time ago. That is a long time ago in basketball years that James Jones put together that roster, and he didn't draft Devin Booker. He didn't draft DeAndre Ayton. Some of the main pieces of that team, James Jones didn't have a hand in. And you are about to embark on an offseason where it is young talent that you are going to bring in. You're going to try to find your next Devin Booker. You're going to try to find your next young star to build around. Are we sure that we trust James Jones with that? So I feel a little weird today reading this story about what they might do. I think it's good that they're adding somebody. I think it's good that there's going to be a new voice, but I expected that. I'm not sure this structure is something I can sign on board with. Now, there is one thing that this story points out that I think is very, very important. The front office decisions, according to Dwayne Rankin of the Arizona Republic, are going to happen first. They're going to decide on this front office restructure, and those decisions are going to be made before they hire a head coach. That should be music to all of our ears. That at least tells us, whether we like it or not, when they make the decision in the next week or two about their front office, that's going to be the brain trust that is going to decide on the next head coach. There's not going to be this, we're going to hire the head coach, and then we're going to deal with James Jones's contract situation and who's in our front office. No, they're going to handle that stuff first, and then that group is going to conduct the interviews. They're going to bring in some coaching candidates and then make the final decision. That is a good thing. That should be celebrated today because that is doing things the right way. That is having the right process. You don't do it backwards. You don't hire a head coach and then decide what you're going to do with James Jones and his contract. You have to deal with all of that stuff up front so that the coaching candidates you bring in can look across the table and know these are my bosses. These guys are going to be here. These are the guys I'm working alongside of. This is the group that has to try to get us out of this mess. We are all rowing the boat together to try to get this team back on track. So that at least is encouraging that they're going to do this in the right order. What scares me is to structure all of this. And they just use the term adding somebody. Sometimes it's addition by subtraction. It doesn't sound like that's what the Suns are going to do. They're just going to add, and they're going to fill up the room with more voices. And at least right now, I reserve the right to change my mind depending on the way the structure sets up. Not sure I trust what we're going to see here.
After reading this, the question I got in my head is, now that I know they're going to go front office first, and like we said, just add and then go head coach, does that give them the flexibility in June, if we add to the front office, to let James Jones' contract just expire?
So you are outlining a scenario. Just correct me if I get any of this wrong. You hire somebody now as a GM, right, to be in your front office. You have James Jones as your president of basketball operations. You go through and you conduct a coaching search, and then June rolls around and you can't see eye to eye on a contract and everybody goes their separate ways.
Yeah.
That's what you're outlining?
100%.
I see what you're outlining. It at least is a little more logical than keeping James Jones and not doing anything with his contract right now. But what type of message does that send that James Jones is going to have a hand in picking who the next head coach is and then be out the door in June? If you want to be done with James Jones, be done with him now. He should not have been up there for that press conference. I don't see how they get themselves out of this box that they've painted themselves into. So that tells me I have to take this at face value. James Jones is staying. They're going to add somebody to this group. It's going to be reordered and restructured, and maybe people have new titles and have new job descriptions and have new responsibilities. But James Jones and his voice and his presence in the decision-making process, it's not going anywhere. Josh Bartelstein, his voice, his presence in the decision-making process isn't going anywhere. Whoever they bring in is going to add their voice, add their perspective, add their presence to the conversation, and that group is going to have to try to work together to piece all of these puzzle pieces together. The Kevin Durant trade, who the next head coach is, what they do in the draft, everything that we have put on the big board, right? We've wrote on the whiteboard of all the stuff that the Suns need to do this offseason. That group, that brain trust, is going to be tasked with checking all of those boxes. Me, personally, feels like it's going to be too many voices. Feels like it's going to be a hotbed of disagreement, a hotbed of not being on one consistent page where everybody is rowing in the same direction. It just feels like a recipe for disaster. But you know what? We have said that we're going to give Matt Ishbia the time, the runway to show us with his actions, right? I said that yesterday. Work in silence. Allow your success to speak for itself. I'll see what you do. I'll see who you bring in. I'll see the way that you present it. I see the way that you'll restructure this front office. But on the surface, as we sit here today, I'm sorry, I don't know if I can trust this organization to make the important decisions that they have to make if James Jones is still around. I just don't know if they're going to be able to navigate all of this. Perhaps they will be proven right, but right now, not sure I can sign off with that message. The phone number for you to join us, 480-864-1060. You can also join us over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube channel. We've got Michael over there. Need to check with Michael to see if he is still enjoying his vacation. He was on the beach all last week enjoying adult beverages while listening to the lunch break. Probably, you want to talk about the poster child for what we think the lunch break is about, what we want the vision of the show to be. This is the show you enjoy while you're relaxing on your lunch break. Michael is taking the lunch break to a whole new experience, hanging out on the beach, having some adult beverages. But that is the vision that I see for this show. So Michael says he's back. Unfortunate that he's not on the beach drinking the adult beverages. But he says just because you give someone a new title doesn't mean they will be better at their job. Exactly. Just because you restructure it and maybe you kind of change some of the responsibilities, it doesn't necessarily mean that things are going to be better. But this is probably one of the worst things to say in sports talk radio. We'll see, I guess. We'll see how it ultimately plays out. I know I'm supposed to have an opinion. My opinion is I don't like it. My opinion is on the surface, I don't think this is going to end well. But I guess we'll see what it looks like. You're supposed to be better prepared. Right. I'm supposed to have the answers, and I don't today. I'm sorry. I just, on the surface, don't like it. On the surface, it just smells like it's going to be too many cooks in the kitchen. When we come back, have the draft plans for the Arizona Cardinals changed with some late injury news? That's next on the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KDUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
Every day, savings, energy efficiency, rebates. Every day at APS, you have ways to save energy and money. We know how important it is to keep your bill as low as possible. That's why we offer programs to help you manage your energy use. Schedule a home energy checkup for savings recommendations tailored to your home. Find rebates on smart thermostats. Compare your rate plan options and switch to the plan that would have saved you the most money. Find ways to save at aps.com/brighter.
Fulton Homes is bringing legendary Fulton quality back to the West Valley. Explore 4 exceptional West Valley locations with more standard features and thousands of ways to personalize your home. Find out why people buy Fulton Homes over and over again. Fulton Homes, you're proud to own, we're proud to build.
Judas Priest. Breaking the law. And Alice Cooper.
No more, Mr. Nice Guy.
The Metal Gods, Judas Priest. The godfather of shock rock, Alice Cooper. October 22nd, Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater with special guest, Corrosion of Conformity. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Presented by 100.7 KSLX, part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
A family called us recently after being told they had no case.
But we found evidence many others had missed and helped them win the largest car crash verdict in Arizona that year. Hiring the wrong lawyer can cost you everything.
Call the husband and wife law team first.
At Scottsdale Mitsubishi, you can lease a brand new 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander for $0 down, 0 security deposit, and 0 first month's payment and 0 do-it signing.
The name to remember? Scottsdale Mitsubishi? Scottsdale Mitsubishi, another Mark Auto Group dealership.
Today at Denny's, buy an original Grand Slam or an All-American Slam and get another for just $1. It's the biggest, yummiest deal in America. One slam for $1. Only at Denny's. Valid at participating locations for dine-in only. Limited time offer.
Jim Rome here with your Rome Report. Hope you had a great weekend. Hey, you know who didn't? The LA Lakers. The alleged title contending Lakers allowed the Minnesota T-Wolves to come into their house Saturday, break their jaw, and rip the home court advantage from them. What a mug job that was. How does that even happen? I mean, they do know that that was a playoff game and not just part of Ears' in-season invitational, right? They know that they're playing for a real banner right now, right? Because judging by their inability to match Minnesota's physicality, intensity, and sense of urgency, I just couldn't tell. And while there is plenty of blame to go around, it has to start with the engagement farmer himself, Coach J.J. Redick. My man, your guys could not have looked any less prepared to go to battle. And since you made no in-game adjustments, you better make them right now before game 2, or this series is going to be over before it even really begins. I'm Jim Rome.
O'Reilly! Get one free set of Brake Best brake pads when you buy 2 Brake Best Select brake rotors. You can upgrade to Brake Best Select brake pads for just $10 more, or upgrade to Brake Best Select Pro or Import Direct pads for just $20 more. Visit your local O'Reilly Auto Parts. Offer in store only. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Hey listeners, Vince Delicio here. This week is JUCO Sports Week. Saturday morning, we are live from Phoenix College's Hoy Stadium, where the Hohokam Junior College Athletic Conference is hosting fall tryouts. We kick off our broadcast at 8 a.m. on Live 365, then move to AM 1060 at 9. You'll hear from football coaches from the Mustangs, Scorpions, Sidewinders, Pumas, and Hawks. It's the Varsity Sports Show, Saturday morning at 8 on Live 365, then from 9 to 11 a.m. on AM 1060, KDUS, Arizona.
Just 2 days away from the 2025 NFL Draft. We warned you yesterday that you take everything that you hear this week with a massive grain of salt. You just are on high alert. You have to question whether or not anything that you hear is part of a smoke screen from another team to help maybe facilitate a player's fall to their spot or to throw you off the scent of a player that they might be interested in. You have to be very, very diligent. You have to be very careful. In fact, you're supposed to be better prepared. You have to be prepared on a week like this. You have to be prepared to make sure you don't fall victim to the smoke screen game. Now, Albert Breer, Sports Illustrated, put out a big column yesterday about some of the stuff that he is hearing about the draft, and he shared some injury updates. And injury stuff certainly falls into the bucket of we need to make sure that this is on the up and up, that this is real, that this is that this isn't just a late breaking story that is part of a smokescreen. But a couple of the players that Breer talked about have direct ties to the Arizona Cardinals. He mentioned Michigan corner Will Johnson that has a knee issue that has been flagged by a couple of teams. Says that it shouldn't affect him short term, but teams are concerned it could impact his longevity. Quote, add to the questions on Johnson's long speed, which were not allayed when he decided to not run a 40, and the Wolverine star could slide. So that's what Breer had to say about Will Johnson. Mykel Williams' name came up. Had, quote, Georgia edge rusher Mykel Williams had just a so-so workout last week and told teams he wasn't at his best because an ankle injury from the fall hampered him a little bit. Okay, that's Mykel Williams, another name we've discussed when it comes to the Cardinals. Jahad Campbell, the linebacker, apparently had shoulder surgery after the combine. Some teams are saying that he may start the season on the PUP list. Ohio State offensive tackle Josh Simmons tore his patellar tendon in October. And there are some teams that think that it won't be until August before he is fully cleared to play football. What do you do with all of this information? I just gave you an injury update on Will Johnson, who's a candidate if he falls to 16. Josh Simmons certainly could be in the mix if the Cardinals want to go the offensive tackle route. Jahad Campbell, Mykel Williams, certainly names that we've invoked with the 16th overall pick. What do you do with this information? Now, I want to start by saying none of this probably takes the Cardinals by surprise. They probably know. They have the medicals. They know what's up with Will Johnson's knee. If they are one of the teams that is concerned about his longevity, okay, they have that information. Do I think they have the injury intel on Jahad Campbell and his shoulder surgery and whether or not he's going to be available and starting the season on PUP? I do. I think the Cardinals are way more informed. I think teams all across the NFL are way more informed than all of us are. We are playing catch up in the media, people who cover the draft, radio hosts like myself. We are playing catch up to what the rest of the league knows and what the rest of the league thinks. So I think all of this information is mostly caked into the team's process. But every so often you see a story that does come out of nowhere and it does lead towards a player falling. But I think this stuff is caked in to a lot of teams' evaluations. They have medical designations that they'll put on players. We don't like this guy's medicals. He's a do not draft. Immense talent. We love the film. We love the tape. The injuries, no thank you. He's on our do not draft list. Teams do this all the time. So do I think any of this takes the Cardinals by surprise? No, I do not. Do I think that we need to re-alter what we think the Cardinals may do at 16? No, I do not. But it is interesting to learn this information now, 48 hours away from the NFL draft, and you just kind of file it away. Because if you start to see Will Johnson fall, and there have been times where Mel Kiper's had him fall to 16, and we're like, really? We think Will Johnson's going to fall to 16? Okay. Now you may understand why Will Johnson falls to 16, because there are teams that are concerned about the knee. And now it makes sense for him to get to the Cardinals at 16. The NFL draft is sports' biggest puzzle. And it is our job to try to put the pieces together, to try to make sense of it all, to try to figure out what this is going to look like. And you get breadcrumbs over here and breadcrumbs over there, and they don't seem to make sense in the moment. But then when it comes to draft night, the picture solidifies. And so Will Johnson being drafted 16 or later by the Cardinals or other teams doesn't make sense in a vacuum with how talented the player is. Learning that he has a knee injury that shouldn't affect him in the short term, but teams are worried about the long term. Now I can start to understand why he slides a little bit. Again, we are playing catch up to the rest of the league, to all of these teams. I don't think any of this is new information, new news to the Cardinals. I think they have done their evaluation of Will Johnson. They know the injury risk. They know the injury profile, and they have made a decision. They have decided whether or not the injuries are a red flag for them, it's a disqualification, and he gets put on a do not draft list, or if he gets put on their big board and they are going to evaluate him the way they evaluate any other player that gets to them at 16. The same for Mykel Williams. They have made a determination based on all of the information that they have. Jahad Campbell, Simmons, all of the guys that we've mentioned. They have all this information and they use it. and they'll make a determination. Is this a disqualifying piece of information? Does this force us to move this player into a bucket of love the player, but don't love the injury profile, or we have questions about their character, right? Whatever the thing is that disqualifies a player on your big board, that work's already done. The Cardinals have their big board up in their war room, in their draft room. If not, it's going to be done probably at some point today or tomorrow. It's the hay's in the barn here. And they have already made the determination on these players. So I know we're playing catch up, and it makes us all very concerned. Oh, man, do they take Will Johnson now? He's got a knee injury. Or, do we take Jihad Campbell? He may have to start the season on PUP. The Cardinals already know this stuff, and it is caked in to their evaluation.
Remember, when they have meetings with these top 30 guys, you get to have your own doctors look at them and get your own evaluations. These things are known and very much clear to the Cardinals on who they're going to take. All this is doing is just giving us a picture of why Will Johnson is getting mocked to the Cardinals at 16, even though we think he's best player available at maybe 12. You just start to get a picture of why these guys might get to the Cardinals, what their risk assessment might be, and which way could we see them going. Will Johnson, this is the first I've heard about the knee for Will Johnson.
In the summer, they talked about him needing to get his knee scoped. And so the knee is not a new thing. That's why I don't think it is a smokescreen. There is some background to this. But here is what I would say, and this is the takeaway that I have from all of this. If the Cardinals do take Will Johnson on Thursday night, don't all of a sudden be concerned about Will Johnson's knee. The Cardinals have done their due diligence here. The Cardinals have done their homework. If they take Will Johnson at 16, that is their signal to you, we're comfortable with the knee, right? I'll give you a perfect example. Everybody was concerned about Caleb Farley, the corner out of Virginia Tech a couple of years ago. And he slid, and he fell and fell and fell. Why? Because for some teams, the medicals were, we can't even begin to try to figure out what the value for this kid is. Talent-wise, first-round player. Injury profile, undraftable. What do you do with that? So at some point, the Tennessee Titans made the determination, we think this is an okay, appropriate spot to take on the risk. And they made that judgment. It didn't work out because those injuries that we talked about with Caleb Farley in the pre-draft process, they reared their ugly head for him in the pros. But teams are going to have a breaking point where they go, this is okay, this is acceptable value. So if the Cardinals feel comfortable with what they've seen in Will Johnson's medicals or Jihad Campbell or Mykel Williams or Josh Simpson, any of the players that Albert Breer talked about in his story yesterday, if they take those guys with the 16th overall pick, the Cardinals are comfortable with what they saw. Now, could they be right? Could they be wrong? Don't know. Time will tell if they're right or wrong. But they're comfortable. They've done their homework. They've done their due diligence, and they're okay with the value of taking that guy with the 16th overall pick. If they stay there, if they move down, if they move up, whatever the case may be, they are comfortable. We're all playing catch up. We are all getting up to speed with things that the teams have probably known for weeks now. Things that have been known inside league circles since the combine, since before the combine. These teams have known this information. So I know I saw everybody kind of go into a frenzy yesterday about all these players that the Cardinals are interested in and these injury concerns. The Cardinals know about these things. The Cardinals have done their homework. They have done their due diligence. This is a well-scouted group. This is a group that understands how to do their homework. They have had 2 very good draft classes. They know what they need to do. When we come back, is it time to start watching Eugenio Suarez with a closer eye? That's next on the lunch break. KDUS, AM 1060.
The Varsity Sports Show live with Vince D'Alicio every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Features all the local youth, high school, college sports, and more, both around the Valley and beyond. Enjoy go-to segments with coaches and players from around the Valley. Tune in to the Varsity Sports Show with Vince and guests Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060. Online at KTUS1060.com and the KTUS 1060 app.
Hey, it's Austin Clark, owner of Moxie Pest Control. Did you know there's over 1,000 pest control companies in Arizona? So why is Moxie the highest and most reviewed pest control company in Arizona? Because at Moxie, we put people first, and we believe in paying it forward. That means kindness every time. It means showing up on time, going the extra mile, and treating your home like it's our own. And by taking a little extra time in our service, we make a few friends along the way. Our field experts are the kind of people you'll feel good having around your spouse, your kids, and your pets. Yes, we've trained them to solve pest problems better, but also to care more, smile more, and earn your trust at every visit. We offer same-day services in most cases, and we'll even give you 50% off your first service when you call. Call 888-MOXIE-10. That's 888-MOXIE-10. Moxie Pest Control, the highest and most reviewed pest control company in Arizona.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Phoenix. Footprint Center, Saturday, August 2nd. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com.
It's about to get heavy.
Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Fisher Tools is your one-stop shop for safety, job site storage, power tools, material handling, hand tools, and things you never knew you needed. If you work in the construction industry or trades, we are your place to shop. Fisher Tools is here to meet the needs of construction pros, facility maintenance, safety, and anyone that wants to have the tools to get the job done right. We carry Milwaukee, DeWalt, Makita, Proto, MSA, Knack, Steel, and so much more.
Hi, I'm Diane Fisher. From our humble beginnings in 1964 at the Phoenix Park and Swap to our 4-acre campus, located just south of Tempe Marketplace, south of Rio Salado, between 101 and McClintock. Fisher Tools has been building the valley for over 60 years. Come check us out and browse our huge selection of tools and anything you need to do the job right. We're also online at fishertools.com. KUPD listeners will receive 10% off their order when you mention this ad. Fisher Tools. If we don't have it, we can't sell it.
At A1 Garage Door Service, we wouldn't be here without you. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello. During Customer Appreciation Month, we're giving back with special offers that you do not want to miss. Whether you're a loyal customer or trying us out for the first time, if you've never experienced A1, now's the perfect time to see why so many families trust A1. To all of our past, present, and future customers, thank you.
A1Garage.com. A1 from day one.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KTUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
Diamondbacks back in action tonight. They'll start a 3-game series with the Tampa Bay Rays. They will do so without Jake McCarthy, who they sent down yesterday. Still waiting for the official word on what the corresponding move will be. McCarthy just off to a slow start. Was great last year, specifically in the second half, helping this team out, but has been off to a really slow, sluggish start for an offense that outside of the top 4 guys, Corbin Carroll, Perdomo, Naylor, Smith, outside of those 4 guys, an offense that is searching for answers, an offense that is looking for anybody else to step up and help those other 5 guys out. Lourdes Gurriel, Eugenio Suarez, who we're about to talk about, Gabby Moreno. They don't have Ketel Marte, so it's Tim Tawa and Garrett Hampson. They are looking for anybody to fill that void that they have offensively right now with Marte out and with the lack of production 5 through 9. I mean, producer Evan said to me off the air the other day when we were watching the game during the break, after you get through the first 4 guys of the Diamondbacks lineup, you basically just are expecting outs. You're not anticipating the Diamondbacks to be able to put together any sort of rally. And that links back to a conversation that we were having yesterday, because it is hard to ignore right now what Jordan Lawler is doing down in Reno. We brought you the numbers yesterday of what he's done through his first 21 games, hitting north of 320, has a 1.049 slugging, multiple extra base hits. I think he's got 5 home runs. He has just been outstanding in his first 21 games down there in Reno. He's playing a little second base. We know that he can play third and that he can play short. And so it's hard to ignore what the number one prospect in the Diamondback system is doing. It's hard to ignore what a 22, about to be 23 later on this year player is doing for a team that right now offensively is kind of searching for somebody to step up. And so it's hard to not talk about, could Jordan Lawler help the Arizona Diamondbacks? And we have tried to hold that snowball on the hill to make sure it doesn't keep rolling down the hill and turn into a full-blown avalanche, because we've said, whoa, wait a second. You can't call this kid up unless you have a regular spot for him. You're not calling him up because Ketel Marte is going to miss a series of weeks to just send him back down when Marte is back. Jordan Lawler, when he is up here, needs to stay up here. And so it is a really fine line that Mike Hazen, Torey Lovello, and this organization have to walk of, we're struggling offensively. There's a kid down there in the minors, our number one prospect that is, as advertised, is just crushing the ball down in Reno. Is it time to call that kid up? Is it time to have that conversation? It's hard to not do that. But the pushback is, where's he going to play? What's the spot going to be? Where can Lawler get those regular ABs? It's not second base when Ketel Marte is here. It's not at short where they just signed Perdomo to an extension. And so that leads us to a guy that through the first 22 games of the season, yes, he has hit 6 home runs, but he is hitting 156. He has a 261 on base percentage, a 429 slugging, WRC plus, where 100 is league average. He is an 88. So for those of you who maybe aren't super big baseball nerds like I am, like producer Evan is, just know below 100, not good. So 88, below average. That's what Eugenio Suarez has been for the Diamondbacks so far this season. So that's the spot. That's where you look to see if Jordan Lawler could provide a spark there. The only person, Perdomo's been good. Ketel Marte, before he got hurt, was hitting the ball just fine. So Suarez is struggling. That's the pathway for Jordan Lawler to be on this team sooner rather than later. So I kind of hinted at it yesterday, but I want to touch on it again today because this team's about to start a 3-game series tonight. Is it too early to start looking at every single Eugenio Suarez at bat with that critical eye? Is it too early to, after an 0-for-3 night, the eyebrow raises a little bit and you go, Jordan Lawler would probably do better here? Is it too early to do that? He's hit 6 home runs. He got off to a super hot start. We saw the struggles that he had in the first half of last year. And I can tell you what the numbers are. He's hitting 156 through these first 22 games, but I'll look at 2024 to just make sure we're on the record with the correct numbers. The first half last year, he hit 216 with 10 home runs and 45 RBI. That's what he did last year in the first half. 10 home runs, hit 216. He's hitting 156 through the first 22 games of this year. Is it too early? Is it being too overly critical to all of a sudden with what Jordan Lawler is doing down in Reno to when Suarez has an 0 for night, an 0 for 3, and 0 for 4, you start to get louder and louder in your call for Jordan Lawler? I don't know if it's that unfair to start paying attention to this. I don't know if it's that unfair to wonder if there reaches a point where now Eugenio Suarez is costing you an ability to stay relevant in the National League West, and Jordan Lawler would help you stay relevant in the National League West. I don't know when those 2 points on the chart cross, but you'd have to think we're closer than we were at the beginning of the season.
And you said it. That snowball keeps rolling. Those conversations keep getting louder. Especially, I mean, Chris, these under-the-hood numbers you go in for Eugenio Suarez. I mean, he's always been a high strikeout guy, but a 33% K rate this year. He's striking out a third of the time. He's whiffing over a third of the time. His chase rate's as high as it's ever been.
Yeah, so we're chasing
from an
the ball.
Approach standpoint, he's lost.
Yeah, we're chasing the ball out of the zone. When we're swinging, we're missing it. And so it's leading us to strike out a ton. And it is just, this is what Eugenio Suarez is. It's what he was last year. We saw it in the first half. He struggled, but he was so awesome in the second half that I don't want to say we forgot about it because we didn't, but it was kind of okay because in the second half, when they were making that push and they were staying in the wild card race, it was because Eugenio Suarez was hitting the cover off the ball in the second half. And so you went into this season knowing, okay, Suarez has one more year left on his deal. They are not going to keep him beyond this season because they're just going to give this spot to Jordan Lawler. But now we have to, and you know what? We're very prepared for this. We are going to have some of those tough conversations. You can't sacrifice what this season means. You can't sacrifice. Producer Evan, correct me if I'm wrong. The expectations this year are for this team to make the playoffs.
100%.
The expectations are this is a pretty darn good baseball team.
Best they've had in years.
So with that being the case, you expect this team to make decisions that align with those goals. You expect this team to make decisions that further their chances of making the playoffs, that further their chances of being one of the best teams in baseball. And at some point, not today, but maybe at some point in the near distant future, the best decision for the Arizona Diamondbacks is going to be Jordan Lawler has to play, Eugenio Suarez has to sit. Not today, not April 22nd, not as they start a 3-game series against the Rays. But could I see in another week if Suarez continues to struggle and if Lawler continues to be red hot down in Reno? Could I see the calls getting louder and the conversation just being too hard to ignore? Absolutely. And you know what? I am going to keep an eye on where the Diamondbacks sit in the NL West. I am going to keep an eye on where they are in the wild card race, because at some point you are going to have to look the entire organization in the eye and say, listen, we are behind everybody else in this wild card race. We are behind everybody in the National League West. We have to make moves that make us better, that draw us closer, that bridge that gap. And guess what? One of the moves this team is going to have in their arsenal, they're going to have this card to play, is calling up, promoting Jordan Lawler and letting him take over at third base. But you only want to bring him up if he's playing every day. You only want him to be up here and getting those at-bats if he has the opportunity to contribute, if he has the opportunity to help this team in their goal, which we just stated is to make the playoffs and to be relevant in the National League. At some point, Eugenio Suarez might. So far, I would say he hasn't directly impacted this, but at some point, Eugenio Suarez and his slow start could impact the Diamondbacks' pursuit of those goals. And when he becomes an active reason why they're struggling, an active reason why they are behind the Padres, they're behind the Giants, they're behind the Dodgers, they're behind the Phillies, they're behind the Brewers, the Cubs, whoever's going to be in the Central in the wild card race. When he becomes an active reason why they're struggling as a group, it's going to be too hard to ignore. Right now, you can point to no Ketel Marte. You can point to the slow start and it only being April. The calendar's going to turn to May. Ketel Marte is going to be back on this team. And if they're still struggling offensively, if they're still not putting up enough runs, and Ketel Marte is still hitting the ball way over everything down in Reno, you're not going to have a choice, because you need to do what is best for this team and its goals. And Jordan Lawler helps you right now, and he helps you in the future. This team is trying to win. They're trying to make the playoffs. They're trying to win a championship. At some point, Eugenio Suarez is not going to be helping those goals, and Jordan Lawler is going to be helping those goals. So this is something to keep an eye on. If Eugenio Suarez is back in the lineup tonight, yeah, you bet that Eugenio Suarez at bats right now, they carry a little bit more attention. A little more attention than you would expect for a guy that's hitting 156. Yeah, I'm paying a little closer attention to see, is the contact getting better? Is he having better ABs? Anything that potentially signals a turnaround. Because if there are no signals, if there are no clues to a turnaround, I think May is going to be the month of Jordan Lawler. When we come back, will the Cardinals be able to get enough if they wanted to trade down on Thursday? That's next on the lunch break. KDUS, AM 1060.
Hey listeners, Vince Delisio here. This week is JUCO Sports Week. Saturday morning, we are live from Phoenix College's Hoy Stadium, where the Hohokam Junior College Athletic Conference is hosting fall tryouts. We kick off our broadcast at 8 a.m. on Live 365, then move to AM 1060 at 9. You'll hear from football coaches from the Mustangs, Scorpions, Sidewinders, Pumas, and Hawks. It's the Varsity Sports Show, Saturday morning at 8 on Live 365, then from 9 to 11 a.m. on AM 1060, KDUS, Arizona.
Lincoln Park. From Zero World Tour 2025.
You ready?
Live in Phoenix. Footprint Center, Saturday, September 6th, with special guest Gene Dawson. Get tickets now at livenation.com. For more, visit lincolnpark.com.
Right now, at Mark Mazda in Scottsdale, you can lease a brand new 2025 Mazda CX-30 for just $249 a month, plus tax for 36 months, which is $29.99 down.
The name to remember? Mark Mazda. Mark Mazda. On approved credit plus $998.
Struggling to pay your energy bill? At SRP, we're here to help. Whether you need immediate financial support or tips to lower energy costs, we're here 24/7. Visit srp.net/help. or call 602-236-8888.
In one corner, a tasty sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles. That sweet griddle cakes and savory sausage powerhouse. In the other corner, a warm sausage McMuffin with egg, toasted to perfection and stacked with melty goodness. Two breakfast icons ready to battle it out for your taste buds. Except, why choose? Get both when you mix and match two for $5 at McDonald's. Yeah, that's the move for the win. And don't forget to order ahead in the app. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.
A new diamond era begins. Desert Diamond Casino White Tanks is now open. There's even more of your favorite slots and tables, a sports book, an atmosphere sparkling with excitement, and top names like the legendary Morton's Steakhouse and signature Starbucks coffee. Best of all, this stunning new destination is right at Loop 303 and Northern Parkway. So come and live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino.
An enterprise of the Donna Automation.
Join ASU Baseball for an in-state matchup here on KDUS AM 1060. This Tuesday, join the Sun Devils as they get ready to square off against Grand Canyon University. As the season continues, Coach Lee Bloomquist knows his team has what it takes to bring home more wins. Tim Healy will have the call live. It's ASU versus the Lopes of GCU this Tuesday evening. Pregame at 6:45 p.m. and first pitch at 7 right here on KDUS AM 1060 and online at KDUS1060.com/Sun Devils.
I think one of the things that we are keeping an eye on ahead of Thursday's NFL draft is whether or not the Cardinals are interested in trading down. Do they want to trade down? Will there be a team that is eager to move up into that 16th spot? I think going into the draft, it's our desired outcome for this team to gain some more picks, gain some more swings at the bat, and just get more chances to try to land a home run blue chip prospect that can turn into a Pro Bowler, a superstar, somebody that can help this team get back into the playoffs and get into a Super Bowl conversation, right? You want to open up a championship window here at some point, and you need superstars, you need Pro Bowlers in order to do it, and that's what this team's searching for. They're looking for those pieces that help fill in the gaps to take them to that place. And while history doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes. This is what history tells us about the Cardinals trying to trade out of the 16th overall pick. I think it was a couple of months ago we talked about what they could potentially get, or what recent history tells us about what they could get if they wanted to move out of pick number 16. It was last year that the Vikings moved up from pick number 23 to pick number 17 with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And the Jags got a 5th-round pick in that draft last year, and then also picked up a 3rd and a 4th. So a pick swap, 17 for 23. And then they also got a 5th and then a 3rd and a 4th the following year. Now in 2018,
There was a trade that involved the 16th pick exactly. Buffalo moved up 6 spots from 22 to 16 with the Ravens. Baltimore got a third, so they got 22 and a third, but they gave up 16, the pick swap, and then they gave up a 5th. So they traded 2 picks for 2 picks, and the price of moving out of 16 to go to 22, they gave up a 5th and got a 3rd-round pick back. So those are recent examples. There was one that we saw that was a multi-team thing that involved the Carson Wentz trade. That didn't feel a very apples-to-apples comparison to what the Cardinals would be trying to accomplish on draft night.
Because it was multiple years, moved between multiple teams. Right. It was, yeah.
It was not the integrity of what we were trying to discuss here ahead of the draft night. So these 2 recent memories, one last year, one 7 drafts ago, are any of them slam dunks, home runs, grand slams, got to do it, no questions asked. And I'll tell you, the 2018 trade that the Buffalo Bills made with the Ravens where they moved up from 22 to 16, if anybody calls me with that offer, I'm hanging up the phone. I'm hanging it up. I am not moving down 6 spots, giving you a 5th-round pick, and the only thing I'm getting back for doing so is I now get to pick in the 3rd round. I turn my 5th into a 3rd-rounder, and I move down 6 spots. That's not enough value for me because what the Cardinals, I think, should be trying to do with any trade that they make involving the 16th overall pick is to get more picks. The Buffalo-Baltimore deal from 2018 is 2 picks for 2 picks. So you change where I'm picking, but you don't change the number of times that I'm picking. I want the Cardinals to go from 6 picks in 2025 to 8 picks in 2025 to 9 picks in 2025. I want more swings. I want more chances to attack a class that is super deep at defensive line, that is super deep at offensive line, that is semi-deep at wide receiver. That is where I want to attack the draft. I want to have more picks to be able to go after those groups. I don't want to trade 2 picks for 2 picks and just change where I select. I don't even think I want, at least the 2024 deal is more picks, but I don't want to kick the can down the road. I don't want picks in the 2026 draft. I want picks now. I want picks today. I want picks that make my team better immediately. I want to bring in young talent that I can try to draft and develop to help me in 2025. Not wait and hopefully have a good draft class in 2026. I have to win now. I have to make the playoffs. I have to get this team over the top if I'm Monty Ossenfort, if I'm Jonathan Gannon. This organization needs to be in the playoff conversation. They need to be in the playoffs in 2025. How do you do that? You attack free agency the way that you did. You expect some growth from players like Marvin Harrison Jr. You expect even more growth from Trey McBride. You brought back Budda Baker and James Conner, your identities on both sides of the ball. And now you infuse young talent at positions of need. That's what you do. So I want 6 picks to turn into 8 picks, 6 picks to turn into 9 picks. I want to make a trade where the Cardinals move back 4 or 5 spots, and I'm picking up a 3rd-round pick. I'm picking up a 4th-round pick. I now am picking twice in the 3rd round, twice in the 4th round. I want more swings inside the top 150, inside the top 125. Everybody focuses on the first 32. They focus on the first round. Guess what? You can hit home runs inside the top 100. You can hit home runs inside the top 150. As it stands right now, we know the Arizona Cardinals pick at 16, and that's where a lot of our focus has been. But just looking inside the top, let's call it the 150. We'll make that the cutoff. The Cardinals pick 16, 47, 78, 115, 152. They have 4 picks inside the top 115. If I'm trading out of spot number 16, I want to now be picking 6 times in the top 125. I want 6 picks in that range. Now I'm making multiple picks in the 3rd round. I'm making multiple picks in the 4th round, and I am getting guys that I think can be immediate contributors, starters for my team. I just worry, is there going to be enough volume? Are there going to be enough phone calls for the Cardinals to get that price? Because if this is what you're getting, if you're getting the 2018 offer from Buffalo, if you're getting the 2024 offer from Minnesota, I think I'm good staying and just taking a player at 16. I don't think I'm gaining enough by adding a 5th-round pick, just one 5th-round pick, and then a 3rd and a 4th in 2026. I don't know if that's good enough. I think I would be very content to just stay where I'm at. Now, if a team offers me a 3rd and a 4th in this year's class and I turn 6 into 8, yeah, that certainly is more of a conversation I'm willing to entertain. We'll see. It takes 2 to tango. We're not sure how many teams are going to be interested in moving up. All depends on how the board plays out. Hour number 1 of the program in the books. When we come back, do the Diamondbacks have the right guy on the mound tonight to get them back on track? It's next, the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Water is Arizona's most valuable resource. And for over a century, Phoenix has led the way in providing reliable water services. Wherever you call home in Arizona, we all share the responsibility to conserve for tomorrow. Watch your water use, especially outdoors. Consider desert-friendly landscaping and water-saving appliances. Together, small changes can make a big difference. Learn more at phoenix.gov/water and help secure Arizona's water future. This message is sponsored by the City of Phoenix Water Services Department.
Rock legend Billy Idol. Live in Phoenix. Billy Idol. It's a nice day to tour again. With very special guest Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. Live at Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater, April 30th. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end. The homemade taste of bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Chocolate lovers are going absolutely bananas over our new Bluebell Banana Fudge. Rich milk chocolate ice cream swirled with a scrumptious banana-flavored ice cream. Your favorite banana fudge bar, now in a carton.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at all bashes and select AJ's Fine Foods.
We're chatting with our guest, always safety first, 811 Megaphone Man.
Call 811 before you dig.
You never stray from your mission of letting homeowners, landscapers, and excavators know you should always call 811 before you dig.
Call 811.
Call for both small and big jobs. And 2 working days in advance?
811.
Any parting words? And I'm guessing they will be.
Call 811 before you dig.
Brought to you by Southwest Gas.
811.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
12 o'clock hour of the lunch break here on KDUS AM 1060. Streaming on the KDUS AM 1060 app. Live streaming the video version of the program over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube channel. Appreciate you joining us here. Chris Schubert with you. One more hour of the program. The Diamondbacks are back in action tonight. A 3-game set with the Tampa Bay Rays. I knew it. It just took me a second. I had to just make sure I didn't call them the Devil Rays. My brain works in mysterious ways sometimes. I was okay. I was fine.
The Devil Rays, they should have never gotten rid of that.
I would agree that they were better with the purple and they were better as the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, yes. But we're not allowed to have anything fun in baseball. I don't know if you know this, but anything fun about baseball, the City Connect jerseys, people hate. The Tampa Bay Devil Rays, people hate. The Montreal Expos, we weren't allowed to have them. They got relocated. We're not allowed to have anything fun.
You don't think the Nationals are fun?
I do not think the Nationals are fun. No. Not a fan of the Washington Nationals. It is Brandon Pfaadt on the mound tonight for the Diamondbacks, as they will have this 3-game set with the Tampa Bay Rays, and want to talk about Brandon and how good of a start he is having this season, and perhaps the best start out of anybody on the Diamondbacks pitching staff, at least so far through the first couple turns through the rotation. But overall, how about these numbers for the Diamondbacks? This courtesy of D-Backs Stats Info on X. D-Backs starting pitchers have an 8.18 ERA in the first inning of ball games this year. The second worst in Major League Baseball. Their second inning, 6.14 ERA. Now, after that, innings 3 through 7, they've been excellent. A 2.92 ERA and a 1.03 WHIP. So the story so far for the Diamondbacks when it comes to their starting pitching is slow starts, and not slow starts for the other team's offense. The other team's offenses get off to great starts when they face the Diamondbacks starting pitching, to the tune of 20 earned runs and 5 home runs in the first inning, an 8.18 ERA. The slow start is on the Diamondback side. The other teams, they love the first inning against the Diamondbacks pitchers so far. And the Diamondbacks tonight are going to have the guy who statistically has been their best starter. Did you have that on your bingo card on April 22nd, 2025, that Brandon Pfaadt would have the best numbers out of the entire rotation? Did you have that?
I would have laughed in your face.
Well, laugh no more. Laugh at yourself, because it is true. The best numbers on the Diamondbacks rotation. I'll just read you the ERAs for everybody. Zach Allen has a 5.60 ERA in 5 games started. Merrill Kelly, 5 turns through, a 4.73 ERA. We're about to see the 5th turn through for Pfaadt, Erod, and Burns. Pfaadt has a 3.04 ERA. Rodriguez, a 4.09 ERA. Burns, a 4.64 ERA. So not only is Brandon Pfaadt the best pitcher statistically right now for this team with a 3.04 ERA in his 4 starts, but he is a run better than the next best pitcher for the Diamondbacks. That's Eduardo Rodriguez with his 4.09 ERA. Pfaadt has been excellent so far this season. He has been the most consistent guy for the Diamondbacks so far this season. And last year was a bit of a roller coaster. A 4.71 ERA, had that great run in 2024 in the postseason, was lights out. I mean, think about a kid who gets called up to the big leagues, has a up and down end to 2024, but then gets counted on in the postseason to make big start after big start, and was good. Was a big reason why they were able to make it into the World Series 2 years ago. Was awesome. And everybody just assumes, oh man, this guy was so great in the World Series, so great in the postseason. Sky's the limit, best pitcher in the rotation, Cy Young, going to be awesome. And no, he hit a little bit of a wall, 4.71 ERA. Well, so far this year, I would say overall very consistent for Brandon Pfaadt. 5 2/3, 1 run allowed and 6 strikeouts in his season debut against Miami. That was his last start against Miami. He opened the year with 6 innings of 3-run ball against Chicago, 6 innings, 4 runs against Washington, then had 6 innings of scoreless ball against the Orioles. And so over his last 2 starts, he's allowed 1 run in 11 2/3 innings pitched. He's been awesome. He had that 1 blip against Washington, the 6 innings of 4 runs, but battled and got the win in that game, actually. It's why pitchers' wins are a bit of a weird statistic, but has been very, very good. So right now, April 22nd, 2025, the Diamondbacks' best starter, 4 turns through, is Brandon Pfaadt. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
It's probably not great.
I would argue it's not as bad as you think, because on the surface, you would question, well, where's Corbin Burns? Where's Zach Gallen? Where's Merrill Kelly? If Brandon Pfaadt is the best starter statistically, it probably means the Diamondbacks are struggling. It means the Diamondbacks aren't very good. Is that how we would describe the Diamondbacks right now? Are they as good as they can be? Are they threatening the Dodgers the way we think they can? No, we're not there right now, but they're 13-9. They're 2.5 games back of the Dodgers and the Padres. All of a sudden, they're now just 2.5 games out of first place. 2.5 games out of the best record in all of baseball. The Dodgers, Padres, and Mets right now have the best record in baseball at 16-7. The 13-9 record that the Diamondbacks have would be good enough for first in the American League West. It would be good enough for second in the American League Central. It would be a half game back of the Yankees in the AL East. They would be tied statistically with the Cubs in the Central, and they would be in second place in the NL East. So they're playing, compared to everybody else in baseball, above average ball right now. They just happen to play in a division where the Dodgers and Padres are 16-7 and the Giants are 15-8. They just happen to play in the best division in baseball. But that's where this becomes a good thing, because they're 13-9, and Corbin Burns hasn't been peak Corbin Burns yet. Zach Gallen has been up and down. Eduardo Rodriguez has been okay, not great. Merrill Kelly, I thought, had a really great start his last time out against Chicago, if not for the two weather delays and then the cramping that he suffered. I think we would be talking about Merrill Kelly a little differently. But do we think Zach Gallen's going to have a 5.6 ERA all season long? Do we think Corbin Burns is going to have a 4.64 ERA all season long? Do we think Merrill Kelly is going to have a 4.73 ERA all season long? Or do we think those numbers are going to start to go in the positive direction? Do we think those guys are going to pitch and get the results more true to form? See, that's why I would say this is a good thing for the Diamondbacks, that at 13-9, 22 games into the season, their best pitcher is not one of the three guys that you would immediately say. That tells me that when this team gets Ketel Marte back, when this team gets a better version of Zach Gallen, a better version of Merrill Kelly, a better version of Corbin Burns, the sky is the limit, and they're going to be right there with the Dodgers. They're going to be right there with the Padres. They're going to be there with the Giants. They're 2.5 games back right now, and we would say the pitching has been up and down. They had that great stretch, and it just so happened to time up with when they won 7 of 8, when they won 5 in a row. They had a stretch of just quality start after quality start from everybody. That's not a coincidence. It's not happenstance that this team had their best run of success so far this season, and it matched up directly with when they got the best out of Zach Gallen, the best out of Corbin Burns, the best out of Merrill Kelly, the best out of Brendan Pfaadt. That didn't happen on accident. And so this is going to ebb and flow. Shout out to our guy, Paul, who always points this out to us when it comes to baseball. It's a long season. It's 162 games. Every day is different. Every day is not the same as the previous day. You can win 5 in a row and then lose 5 in a row. You can look great one night and the next night forget how to play baseball. At least that's what it looks like. So there are going to be ebbs and flows over a 162-game season. What I'm telling you today is the fact that statistically, Brendan Pfaadt is the best starter for this team, 4 or 5 turns through the rotation. I'm taking it as a good thing that when we see Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Corbin Burns be true to form, you're going to see the results that we saw last week where they won 5 in a row. They swept the Marlins. They were winners of 7 of 8, and they look like a really darn good baseball team.
Real quick, are we still citing Paul, given that we found out he's a Dodgers fan?
That's a great point by you. Should you now? So what you're advocating for? We've never done this before. You're advocating for us to banish Paul.
No.
tough.
I just, not banish, but actively cite Paul on the air.
Listen, Paul is a regular. He's a P1.
Yes.
He is a P1. He is a diehard, and we appreciate that because we started this show less than a year ago, and I love that we have diehards. I love that very early on, we have guys like Paul. We have guys like John and Michael over on YouTube. I love it. I love that we have regulars that we can have the banter with. And so I appreciate Paul. Paul thinks I'm taking shots at him. This is all good fun, Paul. We're just having a blast. Now, producer Evan does bring up a very interesting point that you are a Dodgers fan. What should we do with that information? Now, this is not, I don't think this is my call to make. I think as a show, we have to decide what we do with this. So I think it goes beyond just you and I. I think it goes to the listeners of the program of what we do with Paul and his emails that he sends in. Here's what I would say. This is my opinion on it. I appreciate Paul. I love what he brings to the table. I love the perspective that he brings. I love that he is willing to engage in the back and forth and have fun, because that's what we're doing here. We're having fun. And so, yeah, I rile up Paul a little bit. Paul riles me up, and we go back and forth. But at the end of the day, I appreciate Paul, even though he's a Dodgers fan. And I enjoy that he is a part of the show. We shouldn't banish him. I'm not doing that. I don't think we need to reserve that for when you seriously cross a line on this program. And Paul hasn't done that. Nobody's done that. Nobody has crossed a line. It's all in good fun. We're just taking shots back and forth. And when the show is over, we just shake hands and we move on to the next day.
I didn't say to banish Paul. I think you're taking it to an extreme.
No, you said, should we cite Paul? If we're not citing Paul, aren't we then banishing him? We're not allowing him to contribute to the show. I want people to contribute to the program. I love it when Michael contributes on a beach in some island somewhere. I don't even know where he was, but he was just on the beach enjoying the program. I love when we get regulars that interact with the program. I don't want to send those guys away, and I think that's what you're advocating for. I think you are advocating for Paul to no longer be allowed on the program, and I'm gonna defend Paul here. This is rare for me. I'm gonna defend Paul and say I don't think we should do that.
I'm sorry, Paul.
Yeah, I think you should apologize to Paul. Because this is what I heard when you said that I cited Paul.
Who cares?
That's what I think you were saying to Paul, and I think that's a cheap shot, and I think you should apologize.
I apologize, Paul.
Yeah, okay, good. See, Paul, I have your back. Don't worry. I have your back. Yes,
both feet on the ground. Stand by what I said.
See now you're saying that the apology doesn't matter. See now.
No, that was about the apology.
Oh, you're standing by the apology.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. That's good. We appreciate everybody who listens to this program on a regular basis. The Diamondbacks back in action tonight. They will take on the Tampa Bay Rays. And Brendan Pfaadt, statistically the best starter. Now, this is interesting because by WAR, he is not their best starter. That's Eduardo Rodriguez, who's worth a 0.8 WAR, which is weird to me that the guy with a 4.09 ERA is the highest WAR guy, probably because of innings and strikeouts and probably because of defense. There's a lot of things that go into coming up with WAR that allow us. See, Michael says Paul's okay. See, that we're fine. We're fine. You should be ashamed of yourself for what you tried to do to Paul. Ashamed of yourself. You should apologize again just because of how slanderous you were to Paul.
One more time, Paul. I apologize.
See, Paul, I have your back. Don't worry. But I'm surprised that Eduardo Rodriguez has the highest WAR on this team. Zach Allen, WAR, 0. Literally 0.0. Just the middle of the road. Just a replacement level pitcher right now, Zach Allen, through the first 5 starts. So Brendan Pfaadt, statistically, with a 3.04 ERA, the best starter on the Diamondbacks going tonight. And he might be the perfect guy to get this team back on track. And then once you see Corbin Burns and Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly, who certainly looked good in his last start, once they start to have those results that match more of the back of their baseball card, I think all bets are off for what this team could be. When we come back, if the Cardinals want to upgrade their wide receiver room, will they have to do so in the first round? That's next on the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
The Varsity Sports Show live with Vince D'Alicio every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Features all the local youth, high school, college sports, and more, both around the Valley and beyond. Enjoy go-to segments with coaches and players from around the Valley. Tune in to the Varsity Sports Show with Vince and guests Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. right here on KDUS AM 1060. Online at KDUS1060.com and the KDUS 1060 app.
Picture this. A family trusts a lawyer after their father has been seriously injured, and then they're told there's no way to win his case, and they'll have to take care of him with no support.
And that would have been the end of the story because they hired the wrong lawyer. Fortunately, they called us to the husband-wife law team. We were able to use our years of expertise to uncover evidence previously missed and guarantee they could change their father's life forever.
Do your research after a serious injury. Call the husband and wife law team first.
The legacy continues. Pantera. The heaviest tour of the summer. Tearing up Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater, August 26th. With Amon Amarth. On sale now at LiveNation.com. Part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
Hear that? That's the sound of a loaded cash explosion. It happens every time someone wins loaded cash explosion scratchers from the Arizona Lottery. Oh, it's happening again. Since tickets are loaded with $1,000 prizes with explosive top prizes of $2.5 million. Plus, a second chance to win $1 million in the Players Club. Head to an Arizona Lottery retailer and play loaded cash explosion scratchers today.
Hi, I'm Kamiko, the founder of Miko's Hot Chicken. When we started our family restaurant, we were also raising a family. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Our Chase Inc. card was there to reward us on all of our business needs. Now we have a thriving location, and we're hungry for more.
With the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card, you can earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for Business. Make more with yours. Real business owners compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. It's NFL Draft Week, where hope and hype and maybe a little head fake or two comes together in one perfectly chaotic package. By now, we've heard the rumors. This GM loves that quarterback. This guy's rising. This guy's falling. And here is the truth. There is very little truth right now. It's the time of year of misinformation. Teams float interest in one player to mask interest in another. Agents leak favorable comparisons, boosting their client's stock. A casual comment in a pre-draft presser suddenly becomes front-page speculation. And suddenly, a quarterback who was thought to be outside the top 10 is now being discussed in the top 5. Welcome to smokescreen season. Evaluating draft talent is hard enough. Trying to separate fact from fiction in the final days, well, nearly impossible. So while the buzz builds and rumors swirl, just remember, only one thing matters: what name gets called Thursday night. Up until then, take it with a grain of salt. We're here in Green Bay talking football, but let me shift gears for a second. If you're playing pickleball in your running shoes, we need to talk. Tyrol pickleball shoes make the only shoe that's truly built for the sport. It's spelled Tyrol. They're not tennis shoes rebranded or cross trainers pretending they can handle the court. Tyrol pickleball shoes are the best. Lateral movement, quick stops, long rallies. You get something special. It's a Vibram outsole that grips hard, a wide toe box for comfort, airflow that keeps your feet cool even when the match heats up. They're tough, they're lightweight, they're so solid on your feet. Every detail is built to help you play better and not just look good doing it. So if you're serious about the game, do yourself a favor. Go to TyrolPickleball.com. Look like a pro, play like a pro with Tyrol pickleball shoes. Draft a pair of them for yourself. You don't need to wait for the commissioner to call your name. Tyrol pickleball shoes. Purpose built for pickleball.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KTUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
ESPN's Adam Schefter did a bit of a news dump yesterday of all of the stuff that he is hearing ahead of the 2025 NFL Draft. And one of the things of note that at least stood out to me in regards to the Arizona Cardinals was a blurb that said, expect a day 2 run on wide receivers. That just like last year when Keon Coleman and Ladd McConkey went at number 33 and number 34, right away a run on wide receivers, he anticipates there to be another day 2 run on wide receivers. And he mentions names like Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel out of Iowa State. He mentions Kyle Williams out of Washington State. And those are some of the guys that have been mocked at different stages to the Arizona Cardinals. And so if there's going to be a day 2 run on wide receivers, let's live in that world for just a second. If the beginning of the first round, or the beginning of the second round, is going to see wide receivers go, maybe not necessarily 33 and 34, but 35, 36, 37, early on day 2. Are the Cardinals in a position? Because all I've heard, Chris, you can't take wide receivers in the first round back-to-back years. Are you crazy? What are you thinking? How could you champion Matthew Golden with the 16th overall pick? Have you lost your mind? They just took a wide receiver with the first-round pick last year. Okay. Where are you going to take a wide receiver then? Because if you're not taking one at 16, you're not taking one if you trade down out of 16. Where are you taking a wide receiver? Who's going to be on the board at 47? If there's a run on wide receivers at the start of the first round, at the start of the second round, you moving up 14 spots? You moving up 13 spots? We just talked in hour number 1 of the program of the Cardinals only having 6 picks and a trade down needing to facilitate more swings at the bat. You want to trade up? Trading up on day 2 from 47 somewhere into the mid-30s to try to land a wide receiver. How's that going to work when you only have 6 picks? You going to dip into 2026's draft capital in order to do so? That doesn't feel like something Monty is going to be interested in doing. That doesn't feel like, until we see it, is a part of their philosophy. Are you getting a wide receiver at 78 in the third round? Who's going to be left if there's going to be that day 2 run early on wide receivers? So are the Cardinals, if they want to make a meaningful upgrade at wide receiver, are they going to be forced to take one in the first round? Now, I don't need them to take a wide receiver with the 16th overall pick. If they want to move down 3 or 4 spots, gain some additional picks, and then take a wide receiver at 20, at 22, 23, I think that's the best of both worlds. I think that is landing a player out of position of need, that is getting future draft picks. If you take a wide receiver, you're getting ahead of what is a perceived run that's going to happen early. I don't think the Cardinals are going to be able to be a part of a run on day 2 of wide receivers. I think they're too far outside of the range that they're going to need to find themselves in. 47 is too far back. They have limited capital. So I don't think a receiver that we're all interested in, Kyle Williams, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Knoll, I don't know if any of those guys are going to be there at 47. And if I don't think those guys are going to be there at 47, who's going to be available at 78? Now, all of a sudden, you're taking a receiver on day 3 with your 4th, 5th, or 7th round pick. And I can't expect that guy to contribute in any meaningful way in 2025. And I think the Cardinals still need a meaningful wide receiver that can help contribute in some way next season. I think that's the one thing they haven't really addressed. I still think they need a wide receiver too. So if they're going to do it, is their only way of doing it, if what we hear from Adam Schefter to be true is true? Is it 16 or bust? Is it first round or bust? I don't see a world where they can trade up at the start of day 2. They have 6 picks. When day 2 starts, they'll have 5 picks, barring a trade down on night 1. They'll have 5 picks to utilize. That's not enough. That's not enough ammunition. That is not enough draft capital. Producer Evan, can you look real quick last year at the 2024 draft and tell me how many of the first, and I don't know the answer to this, this is just me asking a question on the fly, how many of the first, let's say 10 picks of the second round were moved, or how many of them teams just stayed in their spot and made a selection, right? We mentioned Keon Coleman and Ladd McConkey going early. Those 2 teams, Buffalo, that was part of the Kansas City trade, right?
You will not believe this.
Okay, I love it. I love when you set up an answer with that. Go ahead.
9 of the first 10 picks were moved.
It's like I just had this feeling that I just remembered something but couldn't really put my finger on it. 9 of the first 10. So that's 33 through where? 43?
So from 33
to 42?
To 42, 9 of the picks were moved. The only pick that wasn't moved was 36, were the Commanders.
Okay. So 34 was moved?
34 was moved from New England. Chargers came up and took McConkey.
Can you tell me what they gave up? Can you tell me what the Patriots got back for the Chargers to come up and get Ladd McConkey? I know I'm putting you a little bit on the spot because the reason why I want to ask this question is the Cardinals are going to have to move up from 47 to get into this range. So I want to know what it's going to take.
Yeah, so it was New England gave up the 34th and 137th is what the Chargers got.
So 34 and 137, you said?
Yep.
Okay.
34 and 137 in exchange for 37th. Chargers moved up 3 spots as well as moved back 27 spots, giving up the 110th.
So that was to move up from 37 to 34. That was to move up 3 spots. The Cardinals if they wanted to get to 34, have to move up 13 spots. If they want to get inside the top 30, they have to move up 8 or 9 spots. You can see where this puzzle doesn't work. You can see where you open the box and it's a 100-piece puzzle and you are only shipped 96 pieces. I can't finish the puzzle. If the Cardinals want to get a wide receiver, if one of their goals is to not just get a project wide receiver, not to take a flyer on somebody and hope 2 years down the road they turn into something. If they want to leave this draft with somebody that can be a part of their wide receiver room in 2025 and can be a contributor in some way with the hopes of being a mainstay in year 2 and beyond, if that's what they want to do, I'm starting to wonder if their only pathway to do that is to make a move on draft night, that being night 1, and to take a wide receiver with the 16th overall pick. Or the better way to do this is to move down a couple of spots, gain some additional picks, and then take the wide receiver. Cover all your bases. Get more swings at the bat and still land the guy that you want. Now, is that going to be Matthew Golden? I don't know. I don't know where Golden's sweet spot is. There are some people that have him as wide receiver 1 in this class. There are others that have him as low as wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4. It's all over the place, people's evaluations of Matthew Golden. That's my wide receiver 1. That's the guy I would want the Cardinals to target. I think it would be a home run fit. It would just be perfect for what they're trying to do. But if they want to do this, if this is something that they want to leave the draft saying they accomplished, I don't know how they do so without taking a wide receiver on night 1. Are there any other examples, Producer Evan, in that first round of a team coming up from around the range where the Cardinals were? Not even for a wide receiver, but I just want to know what the cost might be. Did anybody, 46, 45, 48 last year, did anybody try to move up to get into the mid-30s? Did anybody try? Because 37 to 34, it's like apples and wrenches to what the Cardinals are going to try to do. They're not even, that's not speaking 2 different languages. To move up 3 spots, to move up 13 spots is totally different. And so I'm wondering if there was a team that picked in the mid-40s that tried to move up not just a couple of spots, but you know what? We can break this out. A series of spots. They wanted to move up more than just 4 spots. They wanted to get inside the top 40. They wanted to get inside the top 38.
100%. So actually the Eagles came up to take Cooper DeJean.
Okay.
And they got the 40th, 78th, and 152nd and gave up the 50th, 53rd, and 161st. So you needed the 50th and the 53rd, 2 seconds to move up 10 spots.
So you needed 2 picks in a very short range in order to move up 10 spots. The Cardinals don't have that. No. And if we are to believe Adam Schefter, and again, it's smokescreen season, you take all this with a grain of salt. But if we are to believe that this team is going to get a wide receiver, and we are to believe that the run on wide receivers on day 2 is going to be real just like it was last year, I think the Cardinals' only way to get a meaningful wide receiver in this draft is to do it on night 1. It doesn't have to be at 16. You can move down a couple of times if you want and get a guy in the 20s. That's fine. But if they want to make a meaningful addition in that group, I don't know if it's going to happen on day 2. I really don't. Hey, listen for your chance on the KDUS AM 1060 app to win 4 tickets to the Diamondbacks against the Braves on Saturday, April 26th at Chase Field, and get to the game early to get a Diamondbacks replica jersey courtesy of Casino Arizona and Talking Stick Resort. The first 25,000 fans at the game will get one, and you can get your tickets at dbacks.com/SGT. Coming up on the other side of the break, what is a Kevin Durant trade even about? That's next. A lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
Hey listeners, Vince Delisio here. This week is JUCO Sports Week. Saturday morning we are live from Phoenix College's Hoy Stadium where the Hohokam Junior College Athletic Conference is hosting fall tryouts. We kick off our broadcast at 8 a.m. on Live 365, then move to AM 1060 at 9. You'll hear from football coaches from the Mustangs, Scorpions, Sidewinders, Pumas, and Hawks. It's the Varsity Sports Show, Saturday morning at 8 on Live 365, then from 9 to 11 a.m. on AM 1060 KDUS Arizona.
Phoenix, it's time for Saturday night soccer and dollar beer night. Phoenix Rising takes on San Antonio under the lights. Saturday, April 26th at 7 p.m. And you know what that means. Dollar beer night is back. Enjoy 16-ounce Modelo for just $1 as Rising battles a Western Conference rival. Tickets start at just $15. Get yours now at phxrisingfc.com. Cold beer, fierce rivalry. Don't miss it.
You wanted to see me, Ron?
Yeah, see that woman sitting there? When did we hire her?
Oh, we didn't hire her. It's Take Your Mom to Work Day.
I've never heard of that.
Saw it on the internet.
Oh boy.
Hey guys, it's neat that Gary has a mom and all, but shouldn't we be talking about Alaskifications?
That's why I brought Mom in.
I'm sure she's a lovely lady, but she can't promise a 1-year no breakdown guarantee the way Alaskan AC does.
Nope.
And she doesn't promise lower energy bills the way Alaskan AC does.
Nope.
And she doesn't make sure people's air conditioner lasts longer than average, the way Alaskan AC does.
Nope. But she sings.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with an Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
Wow.
Double wow.
Thanks, Mom.
Anything for the president of the company. How long have you two boys worked for Gary?
Gary.
Hey, gotta go. Promise to take Mom to lunch. Bye.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with an Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
Schedule now at alaskanac.com.
At Shane Company, we know getting engaged is a big decision. But once you know, you know. That's the way our customers feel when they choose a Shane Company engagement ring. They walk into a warm welcome and walk out with their dream ring, knowing they got it right. For almost 100 years, we've been offering personalized shopping experiences. And we're in it way past the honeymoon, with a free lifetime warranty that includes the center stone, cleanings, repairs, and resizing for life. Shop with us at shaneco.com or at your neighborhood store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Phoenix, are you ready to ascend? Bring me the horizon. USA Ascension Program Part 1.
Every sky will build, my friend.
Taking over Footprint Center, October 2nd, with special guest
Crawling from hell.
Motionless in White, The Plot in You, and Amira El Fiki. On sale now at livenation.com. Bring me the horizon. Presented by the Big Red Radio.
Come visit the all-new Wekopa Casino Resort, formerly Fort McDowell Casino. Whether you're visiting for slots, table games, the Valley's favorite bingo hall, golf, or food, our new smoke-free casino resort is the place to be. Enjoy a fine dining experience like no other at Ember, or go for the lively crowd at WKP Sportsbook and Bar. Wekopa offers 2 top 10 golf courses in the state, and the resort with heated pools and cabanas is the perfect place to relax. Come experience Wekopa Casino Resort today. At Wekopa, we have the best of it all.
The Varsity Sports Show live with Vince D'Alicio every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Features all the local youth, high school, college sports, and more, both around the Valley and beyond. Enjoy go-to segments with coaches and players from around the Valley. Tune in to the Varsity Sports Show with Vince and guests Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060. Online at KTUS1060.com and the KTUS 1060 app.
Is it just me, or is everybody else paying very close attention to what happens in the NBA playoffs with teams that we think may be interested in Kevin Durant in the offseason? I got to tell you, I was paying very close attention to the fact that the Pistons beat the Knicks last night in Game 2 of that series in Madison Square Garden to even things up. Was paying very close attention to the Warriors beating the Rockets in Game 1, the Timberwolves doing what they did to the Lakers. I think we're all paying very close attention. At least I am paying very close attention to what all of these teams in the playoff race in the postseason are doing, because that's going to determine who wants to call up the Suns to try to get a Kevin Durant deal done.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I've actively rooted for the Warriors. And here I am hoping they sweep the Rockets.
Yes, you are 100% correct. You are hoping that they sweep the Rockets, because that would be the ultimate embarrassment that might force the decision makers there in Houston to make a bold move, right? You're the 2 seed in the West. You've got a young group that you think the sky is the limit for. But the old guard, the Golden State Warriors, the 7 seed, had to win in the play-in tournament in order to get it. They beat you. They sweep you. It makes you reevaluate a lot. It makes you wonder, do I have the right group? Is our championship window open the way that we think it is? It would require. This is why I said last week, it is easy to say that it is very unlikely or is less likely that the Rockets will go after Kevin Durant before a series even begins. before the postseason plays itself out. Let's see if they're as strong in their convictions if they are a first-round exit. But it's not just the Rockets. I'm paying attention to the Timberwolves. I'm paying attention. You can take the Thunder off your list because they're just going to make quick work of the Memphis Grizzlies. That is a non-competitive series. That's the Thunder. Don't even worry about them anymore. But the Knicks, the Heat, all the teams that I'm paying attention to here in the postseason ahead of a Kevin Durant trade. But that leads to a question. What is a Kevin Durant trade even about? There's a great, I think this is the second time we've mentioned them. They do such great work over there. Bright Side of the Sun, the Sun's SB Nation site. John Voida, the managing editor over there, has been doing a series of fixing the Phoenix Suns. And one that dropped yesterday was fixing the Phoenix Suns, why the Phoenix Suns should not trade Kevin Durant this offseason. He's not championing this. He's not campaigning for it. He's just laying out the different ways that the Suns can go about this offseason. And I found myself reading the case that he was making about this path of keeping keeping Kevin Durant on the Phoenix Suns and making the case that, you need a star, right? The whole idea here is to have a superstar, to have a number one that can lead you to the promised line, that can take you over the top. And if you're going to make a trade and get all these assets back, you're getting those assets back, whether it's picks, whether it's young players, in the hopes that either the picks or the players turn into what you already have in Kevin Durant, that you already have the superstar. You already have the star power that you're then hoping to get. This may be an obscure reference. Producer Evan, go with me here. It is a scene in Family Guy where all good references start that way, right? There's a scene in Family Guy where there's a mystery box. Peter Griffin's offered a boat or the mystery box. And he says, mystery box could be anything. Could be a boat. I think I am quoting this correctly, but he's offered a boat or the mystery box. And he says the mystery box could be anything. It could be a boat. That's basically what this article is pointing out. You have Kevin Durant. You are choosing the mystery box. You are choosing what you hope is in the mystery box is Kevin Durant. You could just choose to keep Kevin Durant. And so that leads me to the question of, what is the intent behind a Kevin Durant trade? Is it about getting back talent? Is it about just starting over? Is it about flexibility? It's a very important word. We'll get back to that.
A boat's a boat, but a mystery box could be anything. It could even be a boat.
I knew it.
Peter Griffin.
I knew I was quoting it correctly. It's one of my favorite scenes from that show. It's one of my favorite scenes. A boat is a boat. Mystery box could be anything. Could be a boat. That's what the Phoenix Suns, that is the roll of the dice that they potentially are playing if they trade Kevin Durant. They have a superstar. They have Kevin Durant. They are hoping that they get somebody who is like Kevin Durant when they could just choose to keep Kevin Durant. And the point while I was reading this story that I came to is that's not what it's about. That's not what this trade for the Phoenix Suns is about. This trade is about starting over. This trade is about getting under the second apron and freeing yourself of the limitations that are on you as a franchise. That might be more important than what draft picks you get back, what young players you get back in the final trade that gets put together here. What matters most is a reset. You can't reset with Bradley Beal. That money can't get moved. Nobody's taking on that contract. Nobody wants that no trade clause, the $100 million that's still left on that deal. It's not happening. You're not getting somebody to take on that money. So that can't be your ticket to flexibility. If that was a way out, then yeah, you don't trade Kevin Durant. You build around Durant and Booker. But you can't keep Durant because you're going to have to keep Beal's money on the books. And then you're just basically telling us all, don't worry about 2025, 2026. Do something else with your free time. Don't spend money on season tickets. Don't go to the games. Don't watch the games on TV because this season's not going to matter. Because we basically have the same roster. We're not going to be able to make this team any better. It's going to be a new coach. Might be a couple new young players with our draft picks, but that's it. It's going to be relatively the same. That's not what the Suns are trying to accomplish this offseason. They're trying to reset. They're trying to wipe the slate clean. They're trying to build a new identity. Well, the way they get to that new identity is by having resources, by having flexibility. And so, yeah, the draft picks, they're important. Yeah, the young players, they're important. We've said you got to get 2 draft picks. You have to get a starter and a young player with some potential. That's kind of what we're hoping they get out of a Kevin Durant trade.
That's important. But what's more important than that is getting under the second apron, resetting the tax bill that you pay, resetting what picks you're able to maneuver with, just giving your organization that new voice that they're going to have in the front office, whatever role that person's going to take on. That's how we started the show today, that the Suns are going to add somebody to their front office, according to Dwayne Rankin of the Arizona Republic. They're going to bring somebody new in. What they're going to do with everybody else, that's still up in the air, but he is reporting that sources have told him that they're adding one person. That new person is going to be a part of a process of rebuilding this team. If I was taking over the Phoenix Suns, if I was being put in charge of the day-to-day and making these decisions, I would want every resource available to me. I would not want to have to worry about my draft picks being frozen or unfrozen. I would not want to worry about future draft picks being moved 10 spots, moved to the back part of the first round. I would not want to worry about being a second apron team and not being able to offer certain contracts or being able to facilitate salaries, combine salaries in a trade. I would want all of that to be clean. I would want as fresh of a start as I possibly can. So while the players are important that they get back, while the draft picks are important that they get back, that's not really what the end result here is. The end result, the end goal here is a clean slate and flexibility. That is what the Phoenix Suns are trying to accomplish. At least that would be my priority number one. And then the bonus, the benefit, the thing that you add on top is, oh yeah, we can add to our draft pick stockpile. Oh yeah, we can add a starter to help be more competitive with Devin Booker while we figure the rest of this out, while we shed the rest of Bradley Beal's money. And somebody with some potential to go along with Ryan Dunn, to go along with Oso Ighodaro, to go along with what you do with the draft picks that you do have this year. Because you do have a first. It's not yours. By the way, the Suns lost a tiebreaker with the Portland Trailblazers. So their pick is higher up the board. So the odds of it being a top 4 pick are greater than they were yesterday. So you just know that pick's ending up in the top 4 for Houston. You just know the Suns they're going to be one of the teams that shoots up the draft lottery board just as one final kick while we're all down trying to recover from this season. There's still one more shoot a drop here, and it's just a nice swift kick from the ping pong balls of the NBA draft lottery. Now they still have a pick.
Could you imagine if the Rockets get one? They get Cooper Flag.
You know what? No, I can't imagine it because I don't want us to speak it into existence. So no, we're not even going to discuss it. We're not even going to imagine a world where the Houston Rockets, the ping pong balls bounce their way and they get the number 1 pick. No, I'm going to banish you like you tried to banish Paul earlier in this hour if you continue to say things like that. No, I don't want to discuss Houston potentially getting the first round pick, the first overall pick. No, thank you.
Do you want to know what their odds are?
No, not really, but you're going to tell me anyway.
3.8%. And a 17% chance to be in the top 4.
Yeah, it grew the 17% chance to be in the top 4 yesterday before they did the tiebreaker they did. It was like 3% lower. So they gained 3% of a chance to be inside the top 4. You just know we've got one more kick coming. Okay? There's just one more swift reminder of how bad this year was, how bad this whole era of Suns basketball was, and it is going to be the result of that draft lottery. And I'm just preparing everybody now. We have one more bad thing coming our way. You know what's not a bad thing? You listening on the KDUS AM 1060 app, because you can listen for your chance to win 4 tickets when the Diamondbacks take on the Atlanta Braves on Saturday, April 26th at Chase Field. And you're going to want to get to the game early to get a Diamondbacks replica jersey courtesy of Casino Arizona and Talking Stick Resort. The first 25,000 fans at the game will get one. You can get your tickets at dbacks.com/SGT. We got one more here for you on the Tuesday edition of the show. It is the leftovers, all the stories that we didn't get to. I'm sure we'll have a draft story from producer Evan as well. We'll do it next here, the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KDUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise.
Same Game Parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona. T&Cs apply.
Life's better with American Family Insurance. Because whether it's a family road trip in your dream car or hosting a family reunion in your dream home, we help you feel protected so you can enjoy those dreams with peace of mind. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
If you're tired of struggling to lose weight, Red Mountain Weight Loss has the solution. Discover the power of semaglutide and tirzepatide, the breakthrough GLP-1 medications that are transforming lives. You'll lose up to 15 pounds a month without feeling hungry or deprived. That's huge because it makes it easier for you to lose weight. And that's what we do. At Red Mountain, our doctors specialize in medical weight loss. We've helped people lose weight for over 30 years now, and we can help you too with quality GLP medications that cost less than half the price of Ozempic. Visit us in person, online, or skip the doctor visits altogether, and we'll ship the medication direct to your door. For a limited time, you can save $100 on any GLP-1 program and get our lowest prices of the year. Find your weight loss solution and lose up to 15 pounds by this time next month at Red Mountain Weight Loss. Go to redmountainweightloss.com. That's redmountainweightloss.com.
Join ASU Baseball for an in-state matchup here on KDUS AM 1060. This Tuesday, join the Sun Devils as they get ready to square off against Grand Canyon University. As the season continues, Coach Lee Bloomquist knows his team has what it takes to bring home more wins. Tim Healy will have the call live. It's ASU versus the Lopes of GCU this Tuesday evening. Pregame at 6:45 p.m. and first pitch at 7 right here on KDUS AM 1060 and online at KDUS1060.com/Sun Devils.
Back to wrap up this edition of the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060. Always on the KDUS AM 1060 app. You can watch us over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. The leftovers, it's all the stories that we didn't get to throughout the course of the show. And this is where we hand things off to producer Evan.
Who cares?
So take it away, my friend.
Okay, starting in the NBA playoffs last night. Awesome game between the Nuggets and the Clippers last night. But I want to get into what Kawhi Leonard did. 15 of 19 from the field, 4 for 7 from 3, and 39 points in a 105-102 win on the road in Denver. That was vintage Kawhi.
It was vintage Kawhi. It was also vintage Jokic. He had a triple-double, 26, 12, and 10. And doesn't this just feel like the way a series between the 4 and 5 seed is supposed to go? It's supposed to be back and forth. It's supposed to be down to the final couple of possessions. Like, that's the way the 4-5 matchup, based on how close they are in the standings, should play out. Through 2 games, both teams have landed an opening round shot, and now we get to see. We get to see what happens.
That series, to me, that's the most fun one to watch. That one's going to go 7. That's awesome.
Yeah,
last night's game was awesome.
The chance of it going 7, I think, is very high. I am that of the series so far, I think that one has the most entertainment value. Although Lakers Timberwolves is a close number 2.
That's true. I will tell you, it's a fun time in sports, like flipping around last night between the NHL playoffs, some baseball going on. It's good stuff. Moving on to the NCAA, approved a rule change today.
Oh, boy.
To allow schools to directly pay athletes. Now, this is pending a House settlement, but this is a massive rule change.
Yes, the House settlement that we are continuing to wait to see what's going to happen, as the House settlement is still waiting for a final approval from a judge. But the board of directors yesterday proposed deleting 153 rules from their handbook that's going to allow the universities to directly pay the players. They also are talking about roster limits and all sorts of different rules. Listen, we can get into this back and forth on what this is going to look like. The House settlement has to be signed. It has to be agreed to. And then we'll see. I'm still extremely skeptical of the ability of everybody involved to put up the right guardrails, the right infrastructure for this to work. But for us to even have that conversation, for us to even entertain that, the House settlement has to be agreed to, and then we need to enter this era where the teams are going to have $20.5 million every year to directly pay players, and then we're going to have to talk about what the guardrails look like. But I don't trust the NCAA to do it, and I don't know what governing body is going to be put together that's going to oversee all of this. It is going to be the wild, wild west.
Getting into our draft story of the day, Peter Schrager was on ESPN this morning, which I guess I didn't even know.
So I knew he was leaving the NFL Network, and I knew there were talks of him going over to ESPN. I don't remember ever seeing that he finalized the deal. Clearly that was wrong. Clearly he did finalize the deal because he was just on there today. But it took me aback. Maybe I missed the story. I knew that he was talking to ESPN, and there were rumors of him going over there. So I wasn't super surprised. It just did seemingly come out of nowhere. But yes, he was on Get Up this morning, I think.
Yeah, which took me by surprise. But what he said next took me more by surprise. Both the Browns and the Giants are definitely answering the phones and hearing offers for the second and third picks, as teams are reportedly trying to move up for obviously the two names you think in Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter, but also teams are very interested in moving up for Ashton Jeanty.
Oh, I'm sure. That's exactly what the Browns and Giants want you to think. The Giants and Browns want you to think that their phones are ringing off the hook for the number 2 and number 3 picks. Why? Because they want some stupid GM somewhere to offer them more than the last time that they talked so that they can get out of that spot. I told you, you take everything this week with a grain of salt. You take everything and you are skeptical of it all. This is 100% the Giants and the Browns trying to drum up interest because nobody wants to move up. And then they throw Ashton Jeanty's name in there of, there are some teams that are calling to get Ashton Jeanty. So, hey, Chicago, if you want him, you got to come up to number 2 or number 3. The Raiders, if you want Ashton Jeanty, man, we've been getting some phone calls. You're going to have to move up. That's what this is. This is just them trying to drum up interest for their pick. They're just trying to maximize their return. I don't believe it for a second. You're not fooling me, Cleveland. You're not fooling me, New Jersey. It's not happening.
If you're Cleveland, you need to put out something like the Bears really want to move up. We have a deal done with the Bears.
I do not believe you.
I love this time. Love this time.
You just can't. You have to have fun with it, which is what we're doing here. You have to be skeptical of everything. It's what I said at the first time we talked about the draft here today on the show. We've been talking about it all week. You just have to be skeptical of all this stuff. Everybody has a reason for wanting this stuff to be out at this time. And so you have to try to figure out why. You have to take it a step further and try to understand why that information is being put out now instead of it being put out a couple of weeks ago, especially when it's information that you can verifiably say, we should have known that a couple of weeks ago. Why is it coming out the Tuesday before the draft? So it's just like on April Fool's Day. You just need to be skeptical of everything you see on social media. It's draft week. Just take that extra second and make sure and ask yourself the question, why is this being put out there before you all of a sudden freak out that your team's draft plans are up in smoke because some team all of a sudden is interested in Will Johnson or whatever the case may be. Just take an extra second, relax, breathe. It's going to be okay.
Former Mavericks GM Nico Harrison.
Former, not former. He has not been let go yet.
Yes.
I know that's what I understand what you're saying, but no, not former.
Soon to be former.
Well, I think there are a lot of people in Dallas that are hoping so.
That was the worst press conference I have ever seen. And for those that don't know, Nico Harrison, obviously the Mavs traded Luka Doncic. They had a reporter in the press conference ask if he thinks he'll get fired. And then he continued on to say that he really didn't know the impact that Luka Doncic had on the fans of the Dallas Mavericks.
Quote, I did know that Luka was important to the fan base. I didn't quite know it to what level, end quote. You should be the former general manager of the Mavericks just because of that quote. You are that tone deaf. You are that bad at your job that you understood that Luka was important but you didn't understand that you were going to devastate a city. You were going to devastate a fan base by moving arguably the best player in the NBA, a guy whose jersey is everywhere. Everywhere. I see Luka Doncic jerseys. Not just in Dallas, everywhere. There are people that are a fan of that team because that guy was on that team. You didn't understand what he meant. You didn't understand all the banners that were everywhere. You didn't have a true understanding. Maybe if you didn't understand it to that level, you shouldn't have been allowed to trade him for Anthony Davis. Perhaps. Just a thought on my part.
And then he continued on to say that he isn't in control of the injuries, but they traded for one of the most injury-prone players for the last decade.
It was an incredibly lame press conference, and it just showed. And again, I don't lay this all on his feet. I think the owner had a lot to do with all of this, but he has just not handled himself well at all since the Luka trade, and he has just made this problem worse and worse and worse. I'm sorry. I'd move on from him. I would not allow him to be in charge of that organization anymore. You openly say that you didn't know how important Luka Doncic was to the fan base? Really? You're that tone deaf? Just a really, really, really bad look. That's going to do it for us here on the lunch break. Jim Rome is coming up next. Producer Evan, thank you for all that you do. Everybody, have a great rest of your Tuesday. We will talk to you tomorrow. See ya!